Okay, amazing. Welcome. We do this again. Break the cycle of effort without income. Take two. I'm so excited that we are doing this again. This is going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to join and make sure that all the tech is working for us today. This is awesome. Okay. Let's make sure we're live where we're supposed to be. Okay. Amazing. Super. Okay. Fantastic. Let's see. LinkedIn. Amazing. Okay. We're going to give everybody another 2 minutes to join and then we will get started. When you enter the stream, you can put your name in the chat and let us know where you're joining from so we can see where everybody is located. Okay. Amazing. Welcome everyone. Amazing. Okay, we're going to give 2 more minutes for people to join and then we will get started. Okay. Let us know in the chat where you're joining from. Okay. Fantastic. Wonderful. Okay. We are going to get started. Okay. Oh, I see what's happening. Okay. So there's two links to join. That's what's happening. There's a link to join as a guest for the show, and there's a link to join to watch the show. Okay. Okay. So for those of you who joined into this stream, like who entered the studio, if it works to go either to LinkedIn or to YouTube, that's where it's streaming live. I think that's the place where you'll see everything. So if you're in the studio, you should exit the studio and then either join on LinkedIn or on Substack or on YouTube, if that works. The tech, this is like the tech. Okay. Okay. Well, we're not going to let tech get in the way again. And I don't want to hold up anyone's time. So we're going to get started. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. If you're joining from LinkedIn, if you're joining from Substack, or if you're joining from YouTube, I'm so excited that you are here with me again today for Break the Cycle of Effort Without Income 2.0. I am really so excited to be doing this again. Again, I see that there are some people that are trying to enter in through the studio. If it's possible to just exit out and then rejoin through LinkedIn, that would be amazing. Or through YouTube or Substack. Okay. Amazing. Just let me know in the chat if you can hear me. Give me like a 1 in the chat if we can hear. Yes, no, maybe. Okay. Okay, super. We are going to get started. Okay, so welcome to Break the Cycle of Effort Without Income. I am so excited that you are all here, and we are going to get started right now. So the first thing I want to say is that you took the time to be here. It's a really busy Wednesday afternoon, so do yourself a favor, really, and block off this time to just be present for whatever time you are able to be here. I really I'm excited to share this with you, and I know how valuable this information is, not even because of the results that I've got, but because most of it is based on my one of my number one favorite books, Atomic Habits. So this is not stuff that I've created or made up. This is all from the wisdom of James Clear and his book, Atomic Habits. So at some point, you realized that you had a burning desire to make an impact on this world, right? You knew you had something valuable to offer. Maybe it was that you were sick of working for someone else. Maybe you saw other people succeeding and you thought, why not me, right? Or maybe you just had this burning desire to make a greater impact on the world. And so you did what every determined, passionate entrepreneur does. You dove headfirst into the world of business to learn the ropes. And every time you found a new strategy, a new program, a new coach with the answer, you thought, yes, this is it, right? This is finally the thing that I have been searching for to get my desired outcome. So you jumped in, right? You followed the steps. You tweaked your offer. You made a new offer. You spent a lot of money on coaching. You spent a lot of money on software. You got new books. You took upon new marketing strategies. You made a new website. You redid your website. You tried content marketing and then funnels and then DMs and then paid ads and organic content. I mean, the list goes on and on and on and on, right? And yet you're still here, right? Here you are. You're still searching. You're still waiting for things to finally click. And you kind of feel like you're just running in circles, right? It's like every move forward somehow leads you right back to where you started. And you know you're not lazy, right? You know you're capable. You've proven that by how much you've invested, right? Not just in money, but in time and energy and belief. And if you're being brutally honest with yourself, right? If you look into the mirror, there are probably days when you wonder, is this ever going to happen for me? It's like you see everyone else is figuring it out. They're gaining traction. They're building momentum. And meanwhile, you feel stuck, right? You're overwhelmed. You're drained from pouring so much into this and still not seeing the results that you expected by now. And there's this creeping thought in the back of your mind, like, what if I'm not cut out for this? And I want you to notice your thoughts. I'm looking around the room, right? There are some of you who are like, oh my goodness, you just read my mind. Yes, this is me. Some of you are like nodding your heads, others are not. And you're wondering, okay, maybe I should, right? Or some of you are like, oh, great. Okay, here we go again. Here's another thing. But I want to tell you something that no one else really talks about, or some people. But I want more people to be talking about it. Okay. You've been given the strategies, the tactics, the step-by-step plans over and over and over again. And yet, if it were just about the strategy, then wouldn't you already be where you want to be? Right? See, most coaches and trainers are experts at their craft, but knowing how to do something and knowing how to successfully help others implement it are two completely different skill sets. And this is where the coaching and training industry have a massive blind spot. And so that's why you and so many others have followed expert advice to the letter only to hit a wall. And it's really frustrating and it's discouraging. And frankly, it's why you and so many others are hesitant to invest a penny more into coaching, because you start wondering, is it the program and the coach, or is it me? Right? And I'm here to tell you that it's not you. It's not that you're not cut out for this. It's that you've only been given 20% of what it actually takes to succeed. The other 80%, that's you. That's your habits, your behaviors, the way your brain works, the way you process information, make decisions, take action, or struggle to. Now, there's a small percentage of people who naturally figure this part out. They spend $19.97 on a course. They take it, they follow it, and it works out for them. But for most of us, we're kind of left wondering what's missing. It's like we keep thinking the next strategy is going to fix it, but it never does, because it was never the full answer in the first place. And unfortunately, when that happens enough times, then we start to blame ourselves. We start to think, maybe I'm just a procrastinator, right? Maybe I don't have what it takes. Maybe I'm not wired for this. And that's not the truth. Okay. The truth is, no one ever sat down with you and taught you how to work with yourself instead of against yourself. No one showed you how to build a business in a way that aligns with you, with who you are, with how you think and how you operate best. Now, some of you might be thinking, okay, Tamar, but if you hire a one-on-one quality coach, then shouldn't this solve the problem? Maybe, but unless you paid for quality one-on-one coaching, even then, it's not just about paying for coaching, okay? And the experience of the coach or how much this coach is charging. The quality of what you walk away with is going to depend entirely on the coach, okay? If the coach doesn't help you take what you've learned during your interaction and make it your own, if they don't create some sort of execution plan so that you can keep moving forward after your engagement with them ends, then you're left with another set of strategies and tactics. And that alone is not going to create lasting results. Okay. So today we're going to change that. We're going to pull back the curtain on the part that most people don't talk about, the part that actually makes a difference between spinning your wheels and finally gaining the momentum that you so badly crave. And I know exactly where you are because I've been there too. Okay. I was not always someone who knew how to cut through the noise. See, before I started my business a little over a year ago, I worked for many years as a UX designer in multiple corporate companies. I was a few weeks into my first job. I'll never forget when I found myself feeling so overwhelmed and stuck. All I saw around me were a bunch of disconnected teams. They were drowning in information. They had conflicting priorities and a never-ending list of to-dos. And this resulted in teams that were just stuck. They were in the same cycle of overwhelmed and scattered focus and constant pivoting. And as an individual contributor, it was really frustrating, right? And it just got to the point that I realized that at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to change how everyone else is operating within this dysfunction. The teams are stuck, right? They move 2 steps forward only to take a few steps backward. And it's costing the company a ton of money and a ton of time. And as much as it was frustrating for me, I realized that the only person that I could help out was myself, and I could only fix it for myself. And so I focused on the things that I could control. And this ended up leading me down the path of learning, applying systems, becoming a facilitator, and ultimately showing the team really amazing results that actually moved the needle for the business. And eventually the company saw how effective these changes were, and they asked me to help the rest of the departments implement those same systems and processes. And because I was so successful as a workshop facilitator in corporate, I thought, this is what I want to do full time. Like, I want to build a business around this and make this my next chapter of life, because it was so exciting. It was motivating and encouraging for me to be able to be part of this transformation of team collaboration, of communication, of effective decision making and prioritizing, and just bringing those results that were tangible was absolutely magical. But I was really naive to think that just being really good at something and successful in corporate and just putting myself out there was going to be enough to bring in the clients and the enrollments. And so I went in all in on knowledge. I was collecting resources for a living. Okay. It often felt like I was like drinking water from a fire hose, right? I bought the courses, I hired the coaches, I paid big money for training. And I followed the strategies, right? The step-by-step blueprints. I kept thinking, if I just implement a little more, eventually something is going to click. And I kept going and I kept going. But instead of having this breakthrough, I found myself just marching in place. Like, I would gain some momentum, but then I would take a few steps backwards. And again, like, take a few steps forward and then just be confused, just not know where I'm going. And I just kept thinking to myself, I had to just try harder. Like, I've been doing this for over 5 years and I've been really successful. So this is not rocket science. I know how to do this. So I just have to put in more hours. I just have to try harder. I have to get a babysitter for my kids and work longer hours, right? I need more discipline. I need another strategy. I need another coach. But no matter how many changes I made, and no matter how many times I tweaked my niche, reworked my offers, right? Follow all these must-have to-do marketing tactics, I just wasn't seeing the traction that I expected or getting some of the results that these programs promised. Okay, it was not a lack of effort. That I could say pretty confidently. It wasn't that I wasn't capable, and it wasn't even that I didn't have the right information. It was that I needed a way to think clearly, make decisions, and move forward with clarity and purpose. Okay, how many of you are in this position right now? Put a 1 in the chat if this is you, right? I'm looking at the chat in here. Okay, how many of you have been collecting information, right? You're jumping from one platform to another platform. You're trying this strategy, this 30-day challenge, this 10-day, whatever. And you just feel like you're just marching in place. It's like you're not really making real progress and you're not where you want to be. And you thought you'd be a lot farther down the line at this point a few weeks ago, right? Okay, yeah. So I got to this point and I said to myself, I need to sit down and figure this out. And I did what I did almost every day in corporate as a workshop facilitator. I sat down and I workshopped with myself for myself. And that is when it hit me. I realized that what I was experiencing as an entrepreneur wasn't all that different than what I was used to seeing in the corporate environments when I was working with big teams, right? The patterns were the same. It was never-ending to-do lists, conflicting strategies, constant distractions, both internal and external factors that were keeping me stuck. And I thought, wait a minute. If the facilitation method I used in corporate settings worked to solve these exact challenges, then what if I used the same method to run my own business, right? What if I could use those same tools to sort through the chaos, to prioritize, and to move forward? This was me, right? I was like done. And so I sat down and that's exactly what I did. I did a 3.5-day workshop with myself and I used the action mapping method, which is a method that I developed that we'll talk about a little bit later. And I was able to achieve really incredible success. So put a 2 in the chat or a 1 in the chat if you want to hear a little bit more about this method and how you could start applying it today. Yes. Okay, super amazing. Okay, so I want to start by giving credit where credit is due. Like I said in the beginning, this is not my genius. This is James Clear. And when I was in that state, let's go back, right? When I was sitting and just so overwhelmed, I'm looking at all these investments I made, all this time that I spent, all this energy I was putting in, and just A plus B was not equaling C. So I sat down. I couldn't help but remember the part in the book that James explains the 3 layers of behavior change. For those of you who are watching, I'm holding up a book. For those of you who are on a desktop and see the live slides, fantastic. For those of you who are just listening, we're talking about the 3 layers of behavior change. So James Clear in his book, Atomic Habits, if you haven't read it, I can't recommend it enough. It's just so fantastic. he explains that there are 3 layers of behavior change, that when a person sets out to make a change, either they run into a problem for either one of 2 reasons. Either they try to change the wrong thing or they try to change it in the wrong way. And so he explains it by drawing out 3 circles. Okay. The outermost layer represents the layer of outcome based change. Okay. A change in your outcomes. The middle circle, the middle layer of change is a change in your processes, your systems, your structure. And the inner deepest circle or layer is a change in your identity. Those are the 3 layers of behavior change. Okay, so let's just go through each one briefly. So the first layer, the outermost layer, is the change in your outcomes. So this layer talks specifically about changing your results. Okay, for example, you want to lose weight. You want to sell a course online. You want to get 5 more clients this month. By the end of 2025, you want your, annual recurring revenue to be at this number. So almost always the goals that you set, most of the goals would be associated with this outcome layer of behavior change. The second layer is concerned with the processes that you have in place or the systems. Okay, so this is all about changing our habits and implementing routines and systems or frameworks or processes. It's all these words are kind of used interchangeably depending on the industry or the online course that you took, right? But the process, the structure, the system. So if you think habits and routine that you build, that's what's associated with this level of change. Okay. And then the third and deepest layer is identity, a change in your identity. And the deepest layer is concerned specifically around a change in your beliefs. Okay, so the way that you view yourself, the way that you view others in the world, the way that you judge or criticize yourself or others around you. So most of the assumptions that you make, the beliefs that you have would be associated with this level of change, your identity. Now, when it comes to building a successful system, when it comes to building a business, right? The problem is not the level of change, okay? Or the layer of change. The problem is not that one layer is better or worse than the other. Okay, we need all 3 to have success. And they're all useful in their own way. But the problem comes when we look at the direction of how we go about making that change. Okay? So, most people, when they set out to create success, when they set out to create a business, when they want to have a change, when they want to jump on something and act, oftentimes make a mistake of working from the outside layer in. They're concerned with the what it is that they want to achieve. Okay. And so when we're focused on what it is that we want to achieve, this is going to lead to outcome based results. For example, I want to lose 5 pounds in the month of July. Okay. So I'm going to make a goal for myself to have an outcome that by the end of July, I weigh 5 pounds less. Now, if we're working the 3 layers and we're going from the outside in, the outside layer, the outcome-based layer of change would be, for example, a framework, a program, a coach, a 30-day lose weight, whatever it is, that I would invest in to help me lose those 5 pounds. Okay, that's the tactical. That's the 20% that we spoke about in the beginning, the 20% of what makes up the success, right? That 20%, the frameworks, the blueprints, the guides, you probably have everything that you need in that 20%. Okay. But with the example of losing weight, it would be having a guide to losing 5 pounds this month. Sorry. Okay. So if we look at the middle layer, right, the process or the system, what system do I have in place to be able to maintain consistency over the next month to lose those 5 pounds? Right. Now you might say, Tamar, the program I'm investing in, I mean, this is the $1,997 online, sale with the best and the, best program, best results, best, experience. That's great. What's the system? How is it working for you? How are you implementing it into your life and not copy and pasting someone else's life schedule into yours? So you might say, no, but Tamar, you get a personalized coach when you pay the high ticket. Fair. Okay. We're going to go a layer deeper though. What's the deepest layer? Identity. Where is your belief holding around the fact that you could lose that weight, right? Do I really believe I could lose the 5 pounds this month? Well, if I look back at my track record, I tried to do this a few times. And I've invested in a lot of programs until now. Now, granted, this program is the best program. So this is different. It's not different though. Because if I don't believe, if the identity layer is not holding where it needs to be in order to support the outcome that I want, the goal that I've set to lose the 5 pounds, it's probably not going to happen. And it might happen. It's not that it won't happen, but I won't be able to maintain the consistent results moving forward. So when we look at these 3 circles and when we look at behavior change, creating a habit, looking to create a successful online business, right? And we're in this place of just feeling stuck. We feel like we've tried everything, we've done everything right, we've invested all the energy and the time and the money. You have, and it wasn't for nothing because you probably acquired the 20% of what it takes to be successful. But that other 80%, that's the 2 inner layers, the middle layer, process, the system, and the deepest layer, which is the identity. And that's the 2 that we're going to focus on. What we need to do when we set out to make a change, to create success, to gain momentum, and to break this cycle of effort without income is to work from the inside out. Okay? The way of building identity-based systems is focusing on who we are, who we want to be, where it is that we're going, what is our vision, what is our mission, what do we stand for, what are our core values, and what do we want to bring to this world? What is the impact that you want to make? Who do you want to make this impact for? Right? These are questions that you need to have answers to if you want to be able to create a successful business moving forward that sees consistent momentum and results. So, going back, it would be really challenging to change your system if you don't change the underlying beliefs that led to your past systems until this point. Okay? So let me give an example for entrepreneurs because this is all about entrepreneurs, right? That's who we are. So let's say Tamar Stoltz sets out in 2025. I have a goal. I want to make $100,000 in my online coaching business and paid subscriptions on my Substack newsletter. Okay. And so I sit down at the beginning of the year and I map out how I'm going to be able to achieve this goal. Now, if I was working from the outside in, which is not the correct way that we want to be focused on, but if I was working from the outside in, which is how I was working up until the point at which I had my breakthrough, then I would go, what is the outcome I want to achieve? $100,000 by the end of 2025. Okay. What systems am I going to put in place for that? Well, I'm going to, and then list out all the tactical stuff, right? I'm going to connect with this amount of people on LinkedIn. I'm going to gain this amount of followers on Substack every month. I'm going to, right? And we list out all the tactical things that we're told by the self-appointed gurus are going to get us to the goals that we want to achieve. You might invest in a course to help you get there. You might invest in a program or in a coach, right? But you have your idea of what that goal is. You have an idea for how you're going to get there. But the identity, where is that holding? Because up until this point, you've been running in a hamster wheel. You haven't seen the results that you want. You haven't been gaining the traction and the consistent momentum that you want. So why is this time going to be any different? I'm asking you, think about it. What is going to be different about this time? And when I sit down with my clients and I ask them this question, oftentimes it becomes a little bit emotional for them. Not because they feel badly about themselves, but because they realize this is not as complicated as I thought, right? Not to say that self-work is not hard. It's a lifetime's work, okay? But sometimes we get so caught up in the tactical. We get so overwhelmed by the noise and the distractions and all of these courses and online coaches and ads and AI bots that are flooding our feeds that we literally can't hear our inner voice talking to us anymore. It's like we can't stop and pause and just think for a minute, like, why am I even doing this? What is it that I'm trying to accomplish? What is that I'm trying to do? Right? And so we have a moment. I remember I was recently sitting with a client and she broke down in tears and was like, I really have way more than I need in the area of 20%. I just have to believe I can do it. I needed someone to tell me, you can do this. You've got this. And it was absolutely transformational for me to see how over the course of a few weeks, yes, a few weeks, this person started to see results. This is not magic. She didn't go into the forest, put her hands together and say, every day for 10 minutes and reconnect with her inner whatever. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about reclaiming your identity. I'm talking about sitting down, blocking out the noise, and reconnecting to yourself, to your vision, to your mission, to your original like picture or desire, the impact that you wanted to make before you started emptying your wallet and taking up all this time and investing all this energy and getting connected with all these different softwares and programs and communities. And before all that happened, I want you not to throw it away, but I want you to just put it to the side for a minute. And I want you to stop and I want you to hear your inner voice. I want you to take a pen and take a piece of paper. And I want you to start to write down these things. Who am I? Right? What is it that I'm trying to do? Where is it that I'm going? What is my vision for myself, for my family, right? What is this greater thing that I'm trying to achieve, trying to accomplish? And we write these things out, okay? And that is how you're going to start to reconnect to this identity layer, this innermost, deepest, most important layer that is going to drive your success and is going to guarantee the momentum and the results that you so badly want. This is not magic. This is nothing that I've made up. This is simply when you believe in yourself, when you are confident, when you are strong, when you know that what you are offering is going to make an impact on the people's lives that you've been called to serve, you will see the success. Okay. So I have prepared for you a free download. It's a 3-page, I call it the 3-step reset for entrepreneurs who are feeling stuck, scattered, or off track. Okay. I am going to put the link up for those of you who are not watching and are listening. You can go to my stand store, stand.store/Tamar Stoltz. I will put the link in the chat right now. And one second. Okay. I think most people, okay, so I will link the link in the notes after the call. But if you go to stand.store/Tamar Stoltz, you will see it's called Reclaim Your Identity. It is an awesome resource that I love to use and that many people have downloaded and use. It's a 3-step, there's like 3 prompts basically that I walk you through. Yes, with pen and paper, and to help you start to reclaim your identity. Okay, so the first prompt is called Spot the Shoulds. What rules are you following that don't belong to you? Okay, what are the things that you're doing that when you sit down, you say to yourself, why am I doing this? Like, I don't even want to be, for example, some people don't enjoy going on video. They enjoy writing. Okay, so it might be that you were told that the only way to be successful is if you post 30 reels for 30 days, a reel every day on Instagram and, whatever it is, but you don't like being on video, right? Now, again, for each industry, things are different. Sometimes you have to step out of your comfort zone, but there are probably multiple things that you could write down that you are just doing either because everyone else is doing it or because some coach or program told you that in order to be successful, you need to do this. So spot all the shoulds and write those down. Okay. Like when the door is closed, no one's looking, would you be doing those things? Right? Okay. So write those down. Second thing is make space for clarity. Okay. Clarity is not going to come from adding in more things and buying more things and investing in more things and more time. And clarity is going to come actually by taking things away. And even if you don't take something away, so then don't add anything more. That in and of itself is an accomplishment. Okay. So try to seek clarity by either taking things away or for sure not adding anything more. Okay. The third thing is start to rebuild from you. Okay. And you're going to list 3 things that you want to be known for about you, about your strengths, about what you have to offer, about the impact that you want to make. And This is a really awesome exercise that I like to do. You could do it every day. You could do it once a week. I like to do it at the start of the week. You could do it at the start of the month, right? It's just a really awesome way to get back into this mindset of building from the inside out, of focusing on our identity and then working our way towards the systems and the outcomes that we're hoping to achieve. Okay. So that is that. Now, the second thing is we talk about, this topic of breaking the cycle, right? And we spoke about the 20% that it takes to be successful being most of the outcome based solutions that you've already invested in, right? We spoke a little bit about identity, right? And reconnecting to who you are, to your vision, to what it is that you're trying to do, to blocking out all the noise and all the things that you've been told you have to do that deep down you really don't want to do and that are totally not aligned with who you are and what you stand for and what you're trying to create, right? And which is really critically important. The middle layer is what we did not get a chance to talk about. And so I want to invite you all to a challenge that I'm doing next week. I want to tell you, over the past almost 2 years now, I've attended a lot of trainings, a lot of workshops, a lot of webinars. And after I attended a bunch of them, I realized that there was this like theme and pattern. It's like there would be, this big topic that we're talking about. It was all structured in the same way, right? All following the same program. And at the end, there would be this grand pitch of some high ticket program that was on sale today if you buy it today for only $19.97. I don't know about you, but $19.97 is a lot of money. It's not only, that is a tremendous amount of money. And so about a year ago, I put together an incredible course I was so super excited about. And I was enrolled in a program that said, of course I should charge $5,000 for it. Of course. I remember thinking, $5,000 for this course? Like, not a chance. Okay, so then I saw all the 1997s and all these webinars I'm attending, and I started to realize that every time I would attend a training or a webinar, I was like hyper analyzing how the speaker would segue into this high ticket offer. It became like an obsession. And I like hit myself one day and it was like, Tamara, stop wasting your time analyzing people's, how they segue into their pitch. I mean, if that's what I was focusing on for my job, okay, it's one thing, but that's not what I'm doing. Anyways, so I decided, okay, when I'm going to do these 60-minute trainings, there's no high ticket offers coming. I'm not doing that. And luckily, I never actually published that course because what that course really has to offer and the impact that that course has the ability to make are on people who have been so badly burned, who have invested so much money and time and energy and efforts that I wouldn't have the heart to charge $19.97 for it. And so I'm really grateful that I never did. But at the same time, it's like a masterpiece that I so badly wanted to be able to access and share with others. And so a few months ago, I spent weeks going through it and drilling down to make it as concise as possible, getting rid of the things that I felt like we could do without, but really focusing on those critical parts that if implemented and if taken action on would really bring success. And I put together 3 90-minute workshops, and I based it on the 3 layers of behavior change that James Clear explains in Atomic Habits. And I ran a 3-day challenge. And these 3 days, each day was focused on a different layer of behavior change. And the results were absolutely magical. And so I decided that instead of launching this 1997 course, I was going to do this 3-day challenge because I wanted it to be short. I wanted it to be attainable, reasonable, and I wanted it to be actionable and implementable. Like, let's get moving, right? So it was incredibly fantastic. And so I am going to be doing it again. So next week, I'm running this challenge. It is $67. There is no upsells, downsells, we sells, you sells, who sells. I don't know what sells. It's $67 to join the challenge. And it is going to be Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 11:30 to 1 CST, 90 minutes. They are interactive workshops. You are going to have to be at a computer, and this is going to be hands-on connecting with other people. There are only 20 spots, not 21, 20 including me, because I am equally a part of the challenge. I might be the workshop facilitator, but I gain just as much, if not more, from all the participants who join these challenges. It is absolutely magical. So technically there are 19 seats for this challenge. And again, it's next week, 8th, 9th, and 10th of July. It is $67 to join. I'm going to run the link or the banner for the people who are watching. If not, you could go to stan.store/TamarStoltz, and then you will see the live challenge on my page. Register for it, and it's gonna be incredible. And during the challenge, we're going to focus on all three layers, but we really do focus a lot also on the identity and the systems or the process layers, because you don't need another framework from me. You don't need another, you don't need any other tactical stuff. That 20%, we could talk after. You probably already have way more than you need in that area. We're going to focus on identity and systems and structure so that we can really make the most out of the investments you already made, so that they don't go to waste, but that they are you are going to be working from the inside out, and you're going to see incredible momentum and results. And again, this is not magic. This is nothing that I made up. This is all from James Clear and just putting my workshopping skills to work. And it's amazing. So with that, I want to say thank you so much for joining, for coming to today's training. I want to just save a few minutes now for anybody that has any questions and or feedback. You can feel free to reach out to me. LinkedIn is a good place. You could just go to LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in/Tamar-Stoltz. And also subscribe to Back to the Basics. Back to the Basics is a publication that I have on Substack. I am really fortunate to be an active member on Substack. I have over 430 subscribers, and it is really an amazing, amazing place. So come join us. Paid subscribers get free access to this challenge. So if you want to become a paid subscriber, then you can get free access to the challenge. And yeah, come join us on Substack. It's really, really awesome. And for paid subscribers, we've got strategy workshops, monthly, awesome collaborative, also strategic workshops, visual thinking workshops, so many fun stuff. So yeah, come and join. And again, if anybody has any questions, I will stay for a few minutes. You can put them in the chat. And thank you all for joining again. Amazing. Okay. Let's stop sharing this and see if we have any questions. Okay. Not there. Yes. The chat. Yeah, the challenge, it's just for 3 days. One-time payment, $67. Yeah. Yes, and so if you become a paid subscriber to my newsletter, you could go to backtothebasics.life/subscribe, and you'll see the different layers of membership or subscriptions. What is your my credentials? What are my credentials? Okay, so I have a degree in computer science. It's what is it? A bachelor's, BS, bachelor's of science with a major in computer science. I'm a certified UX designer, a product designer, and a workshop facilitator. And yeah, worked in corporate for a little over 5 years, started my own business a little over a year ago. And I'm married, have 2 kids. I live in Chicago. Okay. Amazing. Okay. This was awesome. Thank you all for joining. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And for those of you who are signing up for the challenge, we'll see you next week. Have a great day.